So this week we'll cover chapter 5. It's finding averages. And there's a couple formulas. When you're finding the average grade, there's two ways. One way, if you're finding the average grade and all the grades are the same value, like for your tests, if they're all 100 points each, then you can use this. So the items must be the same total point or possible point. If it's something where one's worth 20 points, another one's worth 25, another one's worth 5 points, you cannot use this average. So this average is when all the points are worth, each thing is worth the same possible point. Then you add up the grades and divide by the number of items. This symbol here means to sum or add. So if we had 5 labs that were worth 10 points each. You got a 10, an 8, a 9, another 8, and a 6. And we want to find your average. Because they were each worth 10 points, you can just add up your points and divide by how many there are. So we would take 10 plus 8 plus 9 plus 8 plus 6 and divide by how many there are. Now, if you're entering it all at once, you have to put these in parentheses. Otherwise, it will only divide the 5 into the 6. So either just add first, hit enter, and then divide, or put them in parentheses. You should get 8.2. So out of these 5 labs, the average would be an 8.2. Okay. So if you want to find the percent rather than what your average is, 8.2 here, or an average where your possible points are different, you take and add up your grades, or add up whatever the items are. And then divide by total points. And then to make it a percent, we multiply by 100. So you would add all of them up, and instead of divided by how many there are, you divide by the total points. So if we had if we had a lab that was out of 10 and we got a 9, and then another one was out of 15 and we got 12, maybe one was out of 8 and we got 8, and let's do one more. So if these were the possible points instead of like this one, they were all out of 10. And this is what we got. To find our average, we would add both of these up because we want to add the grade and add up the total possible points. 33, 10, 20, 30, 40. So I added both sides up. To find the average, then we take 36 divided by 43. And then to make it a percent, we multiply by 100. I'm going to round one decimal place, so it would be 83.7. So the average on the labs will be 83.7. Any questions on that? For our class, it's weighted. Another word for average is mean. They mean the same thing. When you're finding the mean, you're finding the average. And there's what's called a weighted mean. For our course, it's weighted. Some teachers might go by total points. Just add all of your points up, 90's an A, 80's a B. Well, in this course and most math courses, it's weighted. Ours, if you look on your syllabus, it has attendance with group assignments, discussion board, and project. Those all go together. And they are worth 40% of your grade. So the attendance, the group assignments, discussion board, and project, that's 40% of your grade. Then there's homework, which is 10% of your grade. There's 2 exams, which will combine to be 25% of your grade. And then the cumulative final, which is also 25% of your grade. So if we know what these grades are, this is how it finds your grade. Now, oh, sorry, I was thinking the co-rec, but you're not in my co-rec course. The co-rec, I just do total points. So for this one, 40% is this, 10% is this, and 25% is this. So if you look online at your grade, and you, like, if you keep track of all your points and add them up, the percentage is not going to match because it's weighted. So if you did really good on the exam, but then you didn't do any of your discussion boards, this is worth 40% of your grade. It's going to pull you down. And there are several students who haven't done the discussion boards. So please get them done. Anyways, if we had an 85% on discussion boards, 100%, you should have 100% on homework because we do it every week in class. And then say your exam was a 75. Let's find the grade so far. So this would be your grade before final. So if this was total grades at the end before your final, we'll find out what the grade is. And when it's a weighted mean, we multiply these together. Because this 85 is worth 40% of the grade. This 100 is worth 10% of the grade. 75 is worth 25% of the grade. So you multiply by those weights. 0.4 times the 85 plus 0.10 times the 100 plus quarter times the 75. So first you multiply. Now this is, we call it quality points. And then you divide by the total percent. Because we're not including the final, the total percent, if we add these up, is 75. 40 plus 10 plus 25. Then we're going to multiply by 100 to make it a percent. Any questions so far? So it was a weight, it's called a weighted mean because each of these have a weight on them. We're only using the first 75. We don't know the bottom grade yet. Multiply your weights, divide by the total percent that you have so far, which was only 75. Multiply by 100 to get a percent. And if I calculated it right this morning, did you get 83.66666? Rule of thumb, you should go one decimal place more than your data. So I'm going to go 83.7. So these grades would give you an 83.7%. Any questions on that? So there's no questions so far?
Not yet.
Okay, good. Now this part definitely uses your algebra skills, the next part, because we're going to solve equations. It's, can we get an A in the class? Well, for an A in the class, you need 90. Right now we have an 83.7. This 83.7 is 75% of the points. So since we have this, we don't have to recalculate this part. We only have to add on this. And what will it, as the cumulative final, we'll see what grade we need on it to get an A. So right now we have 83.7. And that's 75% of our grade. Now, if you wanted, you could have just put each of these all over again. But that gave us this average. A little bit off because we rounded. And then plus the final is 25% of the grade. So we want to find what grade we need. Remember, we divide by the total percent, which this time, I don't know why I'm putting the decimal in. 75 plus 25 will be 100. Because we'll have everything there. And then we multiply by 100 to make it a percent. And we want a 90. So we're recalculating the average. And if you want, you can put these values here instead of this one. And then total percent, 75 plus 25. Multiply by 100 to make it a percent. And we want a 90. Any questions on setting it up? And what's nice about this is, because it's 100, this one and this one will cancel. Because this is 100 and this is 100. You could cancel them. And then multiply these two together. Multiply. Cancel that. Keeping this whole decimal, anytime you're calculating, you should keep the whole decimal, at least in your calculator, until the very end. Don't keep rounding as you're solving. If we multiply these two together, we get this. We cancel these two, and we have our quarter times b. Now you're solving an equation. You're trying to get this by itself, so you subtract this. Cancel, and you don't have to show like writing this part. If you're just doing it in a calculator, it's fine. I get 27.225. And then divide by the decimal. Always do the opposite. Since we're multiplying, we divide by it. So right now, if we have an 83.7% and all our grades were in except the final, we'd need 108.9% on the final. So unless there's extra credit, there's no chance of getting an A. So since this was over 100%, we can't get an A. Did we get a B? Is there any questions on this part? We want to find out if we can get a B. Now, you could start all the way back here at the 90 and put an 80. But notice this didn't change here. These got canceled and this one was multiplied together. We could actually start right here and put our 80 in. So in either one of these equations, since we didn't touch the 90 yet, we could put the 80. You could start with this equation and put your 80 in. Because to get a B, you need an 80. We're going to go to here and put in our 80. Any questions on that? So I didn't go all the way back to the beginning because I hadn't touched this yet. So I could start here. Because this part did not change. We need to subtract this to the other side. 80 minus 60.775. Yeah. Any questions on that part? Again, we're trying to get B by itself, so we'll divide. Always do the opposite. This was a positive, so we subtracted it. This was multiplied, so we divided it. Get 68. So you need a 69% on the final to get a B in the class. Any questions on that? Any questions so far? Another area where we use the weighted means is your grade point average. Grade point average, or GPA, is your quality point divided by the number of credits you have. So you add up your quality points and you divide by the number of credits. And that will give you your GPA. If you look in your book, they have A minus, B plus, B minus, and you get certain points depending on all of those. But I figured since you're at YSU, we'll use their scale, which is only A, B, C. So an A is 4 points. So when you get an A in a class, you get 4 points for every credit it is. So our class is 3 credits. If you get an A, it will be worth 12 quality points. Because getting an A means each one of them credits is worth 4 points. If you got a B, they're worth 3 points each. So this 3 credit class, if you got a B, each credit's worth 3. 3 times 3 is worth 9 quality points. So your higher credit classes, you want to make sure you get those A's. Those are the ones that would drop you fast. A C is worth 2 points. A D is worth 1 point. And an F is 0. When I'm finding the grade point average, I usually set up a table. First, the courses. And there's one, the GPA one for your homework. You'll be making one. You'll put your courses you have, how many credits they are, and then the grade that you think you're going to get. You can find out your grade point average. So you'll be doing one. So where? Course you are, it's worth 3 credits. English, 3. Biology, that can be 4. And weather is a 4 credit class. Let's say we get an A in QR, a B in English, B in bio, and an A in weather. And what I usually do is next to these, I put their point value. So an A, I'll give you a minute to write it. Okay, so an A is worth 4 points, a B is 3, B is 2, and an A is 4. So I put what they're worth from here. That way then I can just multiply across. Because this 3 credit class is worth 4 points each. 3 times 4 gives me 12 quality points. This one is worth 3 points each. 3 times 3 is 9. Now notice this one, the biology was 4 credits. That really hurt this because if it was an A, 4 times 4 would give me 16 quality points. But since it was a C, it's only giving me 4 times 2, which is 8. And the last one, 4 times 4 is 6. Any questions on that part? And in the videos, I do another one. So there's another example. Our total credits, we need the number of credits. And 14. That's our total credits. This is our quality points. If we add these up, 10, 20, 30, 45. Any questions so far? To find your GPA then, the total quality points divided by the credits. So 45 divided by 14. usually grade point averages go 2 decimal places. Sometimes they go more, but I'm going to go 3.21. So your grade point average for this one is a 3.2. Any questions on that? Okay. Suppose next semester you have 18 credits. What GPA do you need? So the cumulative GPA is 3 point. So it is 3 point. So we want to try and bring it up. So if this was our first semester and we have a 3.21 and we need to bring it up to 3.4, maybe for getting into a certain course, you need a 3.4. I know in education departments there's certain courses where you need a certain one. So if we want to see what we need on these 18 credits to bring it up to a 3.4. Any questions on the first part before I do it? Oh, quiet. Okay. Right now we have a 3.21, and that was out of 14. And we're taking 18 credits, and we want to know what GPA we need so that we can get a 3.4. Now this would be our quality point, 14 credits, 3.21, and then 18 credits, and we're looking for this. Now remember, when you're finding it, then you also divide by the total credits. And our credits are 14 plus 8. So I took my credits and my grade point average. Now you can do this now on your grades. You just take your total credits and your cumulative grade point average, and then add on this semester, and it'll help you find what your grade point average will be this semester. For this one, we're assuming this is the first semester, and this will be the second one. So if we add these up and multiply these, 14 times, multiplying these, you get 44.94 plus the 18 times b over 14 and 18, which is 32, those are 3.4. Any questions on that part? I just added these up. So after this semester, the second semester, we'll have 32 credits. This quality point is this one, and we're looking for the grade point average. Any questions on that? multiply the 32 to the other side. So since we're dividing, we can multiply by 32. That way the 32's cancel here. $32 times 3.4, 108.8. Still trying to get this term by itself. This one's being added, so we subtract it. $108.8 minus 44.94, 386. Still trying to get the G by itself. Since this is being multiplied, we need to divide it. So we divide by 18. Rounding 2 decimal places, 3.5, and this will go up because of these 7s. So 3.55. So we have a 3.21. In order to go up to a 3.4, these 18 credits, we need a grade point average of 3.55. So we need a GPA of 3.55 to move from a 3.21 to a 3.4 cumulative GPA. Any questions on that?
No, that makes sense.
Let's look at another one. So we had this 9 weeks, 14 credits, which gives us a 3.21 grade point average. What if previously we had 40 credits so far with a GPA of 3.0? How much did this 14 credits bring it up? So if your cumulative GPA, you had a 40 credits with a grade point average of 3.0, and then you want to see how this 9 weeks can change that, you can use that. And it would be on your, what do you look under? I think you just look under your grades, previous grades, and it should give you how many credits you've taken and your cumulative grade point average. So if we want to find adding this one on, what's our new grade point average? First, you find your quality points, 14 times the 3.21, plus the one that you had, 40 times your 3.0. That would be your quality point. And it's weighted because these 14 credits are worth 3.21 each. These 40 are worth 3.0 each. That's your quality points. Then you divide by the total credits. 14 plus 40. And this will get you your new grade point average. So if you look at your cumulative one and then figure out what your grades are going to be or what you think they're going to be, you can see if that's going to move your grade point average up or down, or if you need to reach something. Okay, calculate it. I just calculated the top first. So if you multiply these two and add them together, you should get 164.94. And the bottom is 54. And then dividing them gives you a 3.05. So because these credits are so many, you have a 3.0 and you need to move it up. You need to get pretty high points because notice this isn't moving it up very much at all. So if you're trying to bring a grade point average up, you want to make sure you've got to get a lot higher. Any questions on that?
Nope.
Only 4 minutes left. So. Any questions? The videos are up there. They will be, I did them different problems so that it will help. And if you don't have any questions, I will see you on Wednesday. Be careful out on the road.
See you Wednesday.
Yep.